Good evening, everyone. So, if you can hear well, let's check sound. Please put plus in the chat. And I see the question of Maria in the chat, how to cooperate with you at this conference, as I have heard by a female voice that I'm the only person in this conference. However, there are 20 participants. This is the automatic voice, and it informs each user when he enters, and so actually we are able to cooperate. We can discuss here your questions in the chat. So we all of 21 users who are here will be cooperating. So hear me well. Okay. Thank you very much for the information. Now we proceed, start our webinar.
Хочешь побыть один? Да нет, что там у тебя? На том острове была одна девчонка. Да, такое случается. Да. Она нам там
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming for our webinar, coming to our webinar. This is a third webinar from a number of webinars which were conducted during the previous week. All these webinars are devoted to device PIK1U and the training program with PIK1U and the sub-license agreement which the users conclude to use this device and to train their consciousness with the device. At the previous seminars, we discussed about the importance of this invention for mankind and the possibilities and opportunities for the users to conclude agreement for the device and to use this device. You can find the presentations in YouTube. If you just type in the browser the name PIK1U, you will find it. So today we'll continue our discussion about PIK1U, our possibilities, new types of agreements, and how you can develop your consciousness with PIK1U. So I will repeat again that the device is invented and produced by a famous Russian scientist, Grigori Grabovoi, and it is based on a very, very serious research work based on current physics and mathematics, research and analysis of fundamental definitions of optical systems in prevention of catastrophes and focused-oriented control of microprocessors, and two of his currently effective inventions, method for prevention of catastrophes and device for its realization, and the information carrying system. Now let's discuss the sub-license agreement, summarize about the information about the sub-license agreement we considered at the previous webinar. So now we know that there are two parties to this agreement, one of which grants the right to use the object of intellectual property in the form of materials of the teachings, device based on the inventions and access to the library, and the other party, that is you who conclude the agreement, gets the right to use the subject of intellectual property, and for this object of intellectual property, the sub-licensee or the second party is obligated to pay 9,700 euros, or within 6 months 1,617 euros. And if it is used by a group of 8 people, it means that 202 euros per person. This is a summary of the agreement which is currently effective and which many of you have concluded with the private entrepreneur Grigori Grabovoi. Now, let's also recall what is available in terms of new possibilities to conclude a new sublicense agreement, which is being developed now for people to be more affordable. So, not to gather, for example, a group of 8 people, friends or relatives, but to just to pay for 1/8 of this amount and to be joined, connected to the PAK1U through internet, to be able to. So this is the new program which is being considered now, and it is considered, this draft of sublicense agreement is being in process of preparation now, and it is being prepared now based on the requests of potential users who informed us that they are not able, for example, to gather 8 people into a group to share this cost, the total cost of the device. Therefore, currently we are considering this scheme of payment by each person for the device on the basis of individual license agreement, that is 9,700 euros plus cost of 7 USD divided by 8. So, and if you are interested in concluding this type of agreement just for 1/8 without participating in some group, just please in a free form send a request to this email. So now let's consider this agreement on the same basis as we considered the current one. Again, agreement is actually the same, and the user, that is the sublicensee, actually will receive exactly the same what he was supposed to receive from the current sublicense agreement. That is, the person who concludes the sublicense agreement for 1/8 of the cost of the current sublicense agreement will get the same materials of the teachings on USB, will get access to the device through the internet-based application for online cameras on phones or computers, and the device will be available around the clock 24 hours a day, and the person will get access to the library during the term of the agreement. And there is one more addition currently to the agreement, which is not included into agreement, that Grigori Grabovoi delivers lectures um, about the new methods and work with the device, and all the sub-licensees who concluded the agreement for training program with PAK1U are invited to these seminars to get to know, to learn these new methods of work with the devices. And several words again in detail about the modified device PAK1U. Currently, everyone who reads the materials about the device PAK1U see the pictures, and these pictures refer the first version, the first model of device PAK1U. And actually, the first agreement was concluded for the use of this first model PAK1U. But during 2016, Grigori Grabovoi developed a new, a better improved model of PAK1U and is going to everyone who has already concluded agreement and had the test of the previous, of the current model first model of PK1U provide without increase of price deliver this new improved model of PK1U. And what are the main features of the new improved model of PK1U in comparison with the first model, which is now being used in the test? The modified device PK1U has the second button, which turns on the second mode, which strengthens the concentrations of eternal life and accelerates the development of concentrations of eternal life started in the first mode. When working with the modified device PK1U, the work begins with the start of the first mode. Then, if there is a need to enhance the concentrations of eternal life and the acceleration of the development of the concentrations of eternal life, you may turn on the second mode with the second button. Turning on the second mode greatly increases the intensity of development of the concentration of eternal life. And the second feature of the new model of device is the figures added to the device and located near the three lenses of the device. So the modified device PK1U has numbers 1, 4, 5 near the small lens and 2, 7, 8 near the larger lens and 9, 0, 6, 3 near the largest lens. The development of concentrations of eternal life, when the numbers are available near the lenses, can be carried out simply by concentrating on the lenses by the usual methods, and it is possible to add concentrations on the numbers that are actually available in many books of Grigori Grabovoi. To carry out these concentrations, you should carry out a concentration on the figure of the number series and then on the lens, that is, near the figure. Thus, it is possible to carry out concentrations on all the number series recorded in the works of Grigori Grabovoi. So you see, these are the new features of the device, which all the users and sub-licenses who already have concluded the agreement will use in the future when the device is ready, installed and available to use. And now I would like to discuss more the questions which were generally submitted at the previous webinar. One of the questions, how actually the training with device PK1U takes place. I briefly answered this question, but I would like to discuss more in relation to this issue. And is the university now open? Can a student study there in person in Serbia? Would the student be using the PK1U at the school without buying one as part of the tuition? I will answer this question in the end of the webinar. Now we'll discuss this first one, how actually the training with device PK1U takes place. So, uh, in the subject of the agreement, you saw that you will work with the device, and according to the contract, you receive actually all the available and new works of Grigori Grabovoi, all the works, 400 works approximately, which are available in the teachings. And the teachings is given to the humanity to develop consciousness, are given for person to improve health, to recover from illnesses, to improve personal events by having training, having studying the works of Grigori Grabovoi. And of course, for each person, this is the question: where to start, how to study quicker. And there are so many works. All of you maybe have started to study 1, 2, 3 works which are very popular now, for example, with the number series for health improvement. And to use these number series more effectively, we have to train our consciousness. And with the training on the device PIK1U, our consciousness becomes stronger, and it can, due to this, it can learn more, and therefore training the consciousness is like training equipment. When, for example, a sportsman trains more and more, he gets more and more skills, for example, is running faster, is getting some higher results in sports competition. The same will be happening with human consciousness. You will be able to assimilate more of the materials of Grigori Grabovoi. You will be able to achieve the results when you carry out concentration exercises quicker. For example, as for me, as I can tell this is my personal experience. I had one test, as all of you who conclude the sub-license agreement on the device PIK1U in March. And after that, I noticed that I can achieve results quite quicker. For example, if my relatives had a flu, uh, I can much quicker and easier, spending less time, help them to get rid of this illness. And of course, I feel personal improvements. I feel that my concentrations work better. So, and if person regularly trains the consciousness with device PIK1U, of course, great improvements will take place in development of consciousness, and the person will be able to learn a lot in the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi or assimilate the whole teachings. That is why the training program here is offered with this device, which facilitates assimilation of the training program and actually enables person to develop consciousness and achieve better decisions, develop better events, recover health, and um, improve events with the help of this training program and this device. And now I would like to give two more examples how human consciousness can work. This example was already given by Stefano Candela during the first seminar as an example of quickly healing dog with the use of methods of work with PIK1U. But here I would like to consider this example more closely with giving some explanations. So, we would like to tell you how a person who had a test with PIK1U got almost an instantaneous result by practicing the methods of Grigori Grabovoi. This is a testimony of a lady who had a test with device PIK1U, like me, for example, and used methods provided by Grigori Grabovoi in his webinars related technologies to control with the device. This lady was walking with her dog in the evening, and suddenly the dog, her dog greatly injured its right hind paw. The blood was in fact flooding while the dog was standing. The dog was rather heavy, and the lady couldn't bring it home in her hands. At this moment, a technology described by Grigori Grabovoi at a webinar, which took place on October 17th of 2016, came to her mind, and she established the goal mentally to stop bleeding. And in this webinar, which is now which is one of the webinars which Grigori Grabovoi is delivering for those who is going to use this device PIK1U, he gave one method. And this lady instantly recalls this method, and now how she described what she did. She built a sphere in front of her and inserted the goal to stop the bleeding. To stop the bleeding, this was the goal. Instantly, she visualized two beams from the level of her forehead and sent the beams to the sphere. The left beam passed through device PIK1U in visualization. She mentally made a movement of her look from the smaller diameter lens to a larger to a larger lens to lenses counterclockwise, and then, remembering the words of the author, joined the two beams in the area of control. This area of control was the place where the blood of the dog should stop. This visualization and control was done instantly. And this lady actually compares this idea, which came to her mind, what to control. You can compare such instantaneous control to that when you meet a car moving on a highway at a high speed and you decide. So the bleeding decreased and stopped in 5 or 6 minutes after the injury. And actually, the next day, the dog was completely healthy and jumping on her four legs. So what is very important in this testimony? You can compare such instantaneous control to that when you meet a car moving on a highway at high speed and you decide. So this is the example of very high concentration of consciousness, which actually helped this lady to find the right decision, to carry out immediately concentration, recall the method from the webinar, and immediately, almost immediately, heal her dog. And actually, when we are going to train our consciousness on device PIK1U, we will be able to be always in the state of this high concentration of consciousness, when we'll be able to make correct decisions, make correct choice, heal ourselves, so prevent any negative events. So this is the level of consciousness people will achieve using the training of concentrations with the help of device PIK1U. And for example, his famous book, The Resurrection of People and Eternal Life from Now On is Our Reality, Grigori Grabovoi mentions that very often people happen to be in this high state, high concentration, when, for example, some events go very quickly for them, when they feel some strength coming to them, when they are in a very joy and elated mood. And at this moment, they can achieve more. They can make right decisions. They can make better decisions for them. And you maybe also can remember such cases. You can also remember cases when, for example, you thought of something, or you was dreaming of something, and it happened very quickly. And this is exactly in that case when your consciousness was of higher concentration. So, and I repeat again, the aim of the training with PIK1U is to achieve this kind of permanent state of high concentration of our consciousness. And one more case and example which Grigori Grabovoi gave in one of his lectures related to the methods related to PIK1U and use of the methods with PIK1U. This example was given in his lecture, the last lecture, by the way, for the users of PAK1U, on December 28, 2016. The teachings of Grigori Grabovoi about God, the reaction of the technical system to control of consciousness. Actually, this lecture uh, refers to such facts that a person in very high state of concentration of consciousness can control any equipment. So any equipment can subdue to person when he is in high this state of high concentration of consciousness. And first of all, many people, for example, those people who work in the area of safety of people, in the area of rescue, when they have to rescue people and equipment, they already train themselves to concentrate their consciousness and so maybe instinctively use these methods to use this high state of consciousness to save themselves. And therefore, of course, these states of concentration are very important for such people who work in the emergency situation. And therefore, the first lectures of Grigori Grabovoi were delivered in Russia in the Ministry of Emergency Situations for people who have to make very urgent decisions and who work in the Ministry of Emergency Situations of Russia. Moreover, Grigori Grabovoi worked with the pilots, very famous test pilots who carried out very dangerous tests with the aircrafts. And these people also have already very high concentration of consciousness developed due to their profession. And Grigori Grabovoi also trained them, giving them their methods, giving them his methods, which helped them greatly in their test pilot works. And the case which Grigori Grabovoi referred here in his last lecture is available in the famous book of Grigori Grabovoi, Practice of Control, The Way of Salvation. In this lecture, Grigori Grabovoi just retold this example, but actually in the book Practice of Control, The Way of Salvation, this example is recorded as a protocol of the test, of the flight test signed by the authorized people who are responsible for tests of the aircrafts and work with the pilots. So now to the case which Grigori Grabovoi described in his lecture. And by the way, the test pilot on this aircraft, Verimey Boris, who successfully took part in the test in that case, precisely when the plane Tu-144 was tested with the flying laboratory, told about a case and his colleagues told about this case of Boris Veremey, when a huge piece was pulled out from the glider of the aircraft in the flight, and he, as if despite the fact that the piece was pulled out, yet landed beyond the laws of physics. And when the physicists calculated that it was almost not possible physically to land the plane which with such a hole in the fuselage, the plane in principle had to fall to pieces in the flight. But Veremey Boris was at the helm, and it turns that as the pilots assessed, other pilots assessed that there was such a strong concentration of the wheel that he landed the plane. So I'm talking about the fact that any technical system can be seriously enough subdued by your thinking, and this can be done at the global level. And this is exact quotation what Grigori Grabovoi told at the seminar, at his last webinar on September 28th last year. So just listen to it. So I'm talking about the fact that any technical system can be seriously enough subdued by your thinking. And this can be done at the global level. You see, uh, some people already, when they work and carry out their job duties, already are able already to achieve this state and consciousness. And due to this, save themselves, save the aircraft, and save the colleagues. And with the device, and of course here in this case, this pilot also used some methods of Grigori Grabovoi, which he gave to him before the flight. And this new device, invented by Grigori Grabovoi and produced and offered for all of us, will enable us to be in the state of concentration of our consciousness almost permanently, without much thinking what to do, without much contemplating what way to go. And especially it is important in the cases of emergency. In the current world, we know that there are a lot of dangerous equipment all over the world, and you know that emergencies happen very often, and each person should train his consciousness to save his life and the lives of people around him. So this is example of the state of consciousness, of the development of consciousness, which we all are going to achieve using the training program with PIK 1. And now we're coming to the second question. Is the university now open? Can a student study there in person in Serbia? Would a student be using the PIK 1 year at the school without buying one as part of the tuition? These are all, both the first one and this one are very good questions. I will answer, there are several questions comprised in one. I will answer one by one. Is this university now open? The answer is no. Why no? First of all, as I mentioned during the first webinar, to do something for people, it is necessary that people participate. So to open the university, we need more students studying in the university. Currently, we have enough students for the training center, and we provide training on behalf of the training center. So the more students we have, the more opportunities we'll have to open the university. So everything is done based on the free will of people. If people want to study at the university will be available and will function, and you will be able to study there as in any other university. But to begin with, we have to gather more and more students studying under the training center of Grigori. So let's start with this. So to start training at the university, now we have to gather and study more and more people at the education center. So you understand the answer that what is being, we cannot create the university if there are no students. We have, this is the demand and the offer of the service, the offer of the training. So, but I'm sure the university will be open with your help, of course, and your desire to study there. The next question. Can a student study there in person in Serbia? When the university is open, of course, any student will be able to study in person at the university. Would a student be using the PIK 1 year at the school without buying one as part of the tuition? The question implies that using PIK 1 year at school may be like in the library. I understand it like this. But now, at the previous webinars, you were explained that each device is set personally for the person. So this device should be your own. So, and used by many students in the library. Currently, it is not feasible. However, maybe in the future there will be more devices, more models, which may be used like this at the university. Currently, the current model PAK1U is designed so that it is tuned for a certain student. Or maybe if this will be a personal training, face-to-face training, it may it be the device, the training program, the device may be included in the total cost of the study in the university, and this will be a personal device like in the previous model. Then it may be like this. So this is the answer to the second question. And now, as at the previous webinars, I would like you to ask more questions. What is not clear? Or if you want to learn something more about the training program with the device PIK1U or the agreements for training program with PIK1U device. So, when can we start with concrete exercises? I bought the PAK, but when we will start concretely? Patricia. So, you mean maybe that you bought the PAK, you concluded the sub-license agreement for training program with PAK, and so paid for this training program. I understand like this. So I don't know the date of conclusion of your agreement. Actually, the device starts to be produced after the payment is received, and it takes 6 months to assemble and set personally the device for the user or for the group of users who are included in the contract. So, but I suppose that maybe some people who already concluded the agreement, their fulfillment of their agreement is a bit delayed. And the reason is that instead of providing, according to the agreement, the first model of the device, actually, Grigori Grabovoi is going to deliver the second model of the device. And therefore, there is some delay with the delivery of the device. So it will be ready soon, and you will be able to work with the device. When I make exercise with the device, if every stand near me, is there a problem? So you mean if every of the group stand near you? Actually, there is no problem if all the group is concentrating on the same device, because there were a lot of tests on the device, either online or exactly near the device, when several persons were concentrating on the device, and this is no problem because the device, the construction, the design of the device is such that it can be set for 8 persons. So the crystals can be calculated and set and established within the device in such a way that 8 persons can concentrate on them, each in his own way, personally. And maybe to explain how it is going on, this concentration, next webinar I will tell about the invention with the drawings of this crystal, and we will see and give the extract from the explanation of the invention, how it is possible to concentrate. And moreover, based on these two inventions, the concentration actually is the same, either online or near the device. And so after the device are being produced, for some period, they will be placed in the office in Serbia, or not in the office, but in the premises in Serbia, and provided to people through online video cameras. So this is for maintenance purposes because Grigori Grabovoi will still monitor their work. Each group will have their own device, for example, with corresponding number, and will concentrate on the device online. And for example, if you come to Serbia, to the premises where the devices are, you will be given an opportunity in the very beginning to work with your device personally, physically. However, before coming to Serbia to work with the device there in the premises, you will submit information that you are coming 3 days in advance, that is. And for some period, all the devices will be located for the purpose of maintenance. Because, for example, if you take it immediately home, there is no maintenance service. If something is wrong, and it is a very new device, no maintenance service is available. Grigori Grabovoi is the constructor general, and he is the producer. And no other people at the moment are trained accordingly. Currently, when he is producing the device, he is training other specialists. It is not only the case with him. It is the same that is taking place with any new invention. That first only the designer knows how it works, how it can be maintained. And then other people gradually are trained, know the process, and can help in this process. That is why maybe this process is not very fast. And of course, this is the very first production. Therefore, this can be assembled and set for each person only after receiving the complete payment. As I said in the previous webinar, this setting, personal setting, is a very, very complex calculation program which is carried out through very serious IT. So, and now, so Joe, Olga, where is the training center then? Is it in the same area as the university? When you say we should start with the training center, do you mean to say the special seminars only being offered occasionally, or is there steady subject course being offered? Last year, there was a steady subject course online, not personally, but online, and some students studied during the year. So this year, we have only the course online in Russian because there are no applicants to train in English. And there are also some on-site webinars organized by sub-licenses which provide training based on the training program of Grigori Grabovoi. And actually, the students receive the certificate of the education center of Grigori Grabovoi. And actually, this kind of training took place last year. This was the introductory course of the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. That is the very first course which is actually included in the university program and which is actually the training course of the education center. The introductory course, it took place in Serbia last year, and this year it will be organized in Croatia, the same course which was in Serbia, and the high-level course of the introductory course, advanced course, which will be attended by all the students who already attended the first part in Serbia last year. The first one will be repeated and new students come to it, and the students who studied. So actually they have already started their training at the university. So I made payment for PK1U device and program on April 2016. Do you know when it will be ready use. I think probably within 2 or 3 months. We announce this here in the webinars. You can either wait or you can apply for conclusion an additional agreement for this new model, which will actually be provided to you instead of this first model, due to which there is a delay. And actually, either with this agreement or without this agreement, additionally, anyone who has already concluded the agreement will be provided with this improved model without additional payment of device PIK 1. So, more questions? For example, if you have more questions after the webinar, you can send them to the email of which was provided here in the webinar, to the email, or you can send them directly to me. So if you make a decision to conclude the sub-license agreement, you can also ask me more questions. You can send your questions to the email, and gradually in these webinars we'll be trying to answer all your questions, to give you all the picture what you can do and how PIK 1 will work. And we are planning to conduct these webinars with translation into Spanish and Portuguese within the nearest week. So I hope I answered your questions. So for today our webinar is finished. Thank you very much for your questions. With the device, can we visualize numbers, series, and spheres? With the device, yes, your consciousness will be developing, and you will be visualizing better and better numbers, number series, and spheres. For example, for me, it happens for me after my test, but maybe this is not only due to this test, but I have been training my consciousness for many, many years already, and this one test helped me a lot to improve development of my consciousness, to enhance it, because after the test I can visualize the spheres, the figures, the number series very vividly, as if they physically are in front of me. So I can visualize any color I want. I can visualize any shapes. For example, the figures are not flat, but as if of having some volume. So, and this is my consciousness which controls them. So this will really happen to everyone who will train. But repetiция, as we know, such a proverb, repetiция est mater studiorum. So this is training, this is studying, and the more you study, the more you learn. And this is the training for our consciousness as any training. The more we train, the more we achieve. The device helps us significantly. So this is the end of our webinar. So if you have questions, you are invited to the following webinars. So follow our advertising. So see you at the next webinar. I wish you happy, eternal, joyful life. Best regards.
Хочешь, чтобы Пруденс нас тут же поймала? Не думаю. Я знаю, что нам с ней делать. Дайте мне 10 минут, а потом...